not that much easy. Because nowadays, like, requirement is something different. Like, people also want some professional work to be taught, and in office also people wants to be, to do something serious work. Nowadays, like, it's not like normal IT. What the regular
Mhm.
work we are doing, people are expecting so many things.
You're right. I mean, they are not satisfying with the work what you are doing. So some like if you see exactly maybe 5 to 6 years back, if the person completes the work, so they were happy. Okay. Yes, he is able to complete the job in on time. But nowadays, so people are complaining. So people are completing the job. But what simply they are saying is what you are doing extra,
Yeah, true, true. What they are doing
right?
extra
I
and
mean, this can be this can be done everybody. But so what else you are doing? That's the simple thing,
true, and
right?
without doing artificial intelligence, they want to automate. Means they'll say you have to do like artificial intelligence, and without using that also means you need to implement something automation in your code.
Hmm.
So much expectations.
Too much expectation, yeah. Which company you are, Ankur?
I'm in Tech Mahindra.
Okay.
Yours?
Uh, Hello? Yeah, I'm in Infi.
Info, info. So I think your company is quite better than me.
Yes. I think even I feel that yours is a little bit better, right?
No, mine is my means like here Tech Mahindra actually when it was 2000 employee company before when they have started. So that was good. When they have merged it's Satyam, they are not able to manage, and it's like havoc happened, and see the result. They are firing the employees and all. But I'm not here in Tech Mahindra from starting. I came from some different organization.
Okay.
And when from time I'm working Tech Mahindra means they are giving me client opportunity only, so I'm okay with that.
Mm.
But Infosys is a really good company to stay for. In
Not
Bangalore,
bad
they have a
actually.
huge campus. So many
What is it?
campuses in Bangalore.
Yeah, yeah, Bangalore, you have so much, right? Even Electronic City, Whitefield.
Electricity means like 70%, 60 to 70% area is holding by Infosys. Others are distributed among other companies.
These people, they will only arrange you the campus,
Yes,
but they don't pay you much.
that's true.
That's the challenges. That is the usual challenges that people are facing.
True, true. They want to keep the audience more and more.
Yeah, they want to keep audits and they want to showcase like yes, we are doing this is what we are doing.
When I went to Pune, if I have seen the office of
Hmm.
Infosys, it's like insane. It's not
Okay,
ending. Means we are
where
moving in
in
a car.
okay.
Sorry, it's not ending
Yeah,
actually.
go ahead.
I'm keep on moving in a car. Hindewadi.
Oh, so you are saying campus, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You are correct. You are right. So it's a big campus.
Yeah, infrastructure is very big, not big.
Hi, Pramod. So we are waiting others. Okay, I think at least you joined. So shall we continue then? Let us move on. Okay.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. So now let us continue with the study session. So you are there. Let us also start recording. Okay. All right. So let me run the yesterday example once again. I hope you might have get a chance for to deploy the application, then run it at your system. So possibly, right? Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah. So let me know if I missed anything while sharing the files. Okay, if you are having any challenges, let me run the application. Nankur, so you are able to run it. So looks like Pramod is able to run it.
No, Srini, I have not. Not. I have not tried actually.
Okay.
I'll try today.
Let me try to deploy it, the application. Let's see. Okay, yes. To finish it, so hope you remembered. So yesterday we discussed about the concept of pagination, how the pagination works, and what is the importance of the pagination, right?
Right.
So it is initializing the Spring framework. Yes, done. Initialization is completed. Then you'll be seeing a browser that will launch with the welcome page. Done. Okay. Here is our browser. Let me close this and open in our browser. So get employee list. So where you will be fetching all the list of records from the database. So in a page by page. So it's called a pagination, right? So we applied a pagination. So in a page by page, so you should be able to see. I don't know what is happening. What happened? So did we make any changes in the code? Okay, it is not refreshed. It is not loaded properly. Okay, we can see now record is able to change. We are in fifth page. You are able to say 60 to 75 records per page. I am displaying 75 records. Okay, that is what so we have seen about yesterday. So now let us learn about this. And yesterday I have explained you a different so files as well has been seen that. So yesterday we have seen about the web.xml file and how the web.xml file is looks like. Okay, and what all the configurations of which we done, right? And what is welcome page is configured and then error page. Then so we have seen about so init servlet. Okay, and then so we have seen about all this configuration section, and a very important thing so which we have learned about it, how you are integrating um, annotation factory. So annotation session factory is a plugin which we are integrating to Spring framework. Spring is giving you an opportunity you to integrate with external ORM frameworks. So using this plugin. Yesterday I showed you, is it only for Hibernate? No, there are many other ORM framework it does supports, and you need to just change the name. Other than that, everything will be the same. The configuration, structure, and everything should remain the same. Now, apart from this, so which I have also explained you in the last session about, so how we can configure a property placeholder in the application, how the properties can be substituted on the runtime the moment when the properties file is loaded, and by that time, so you should able to see the properties will be ready and which will be replaced to preparing your driver manager data source. So, and I showed you, so these are all the ORM frameworks that does Java currently supports. Sorry, does Spring framework currently supports with the integration. Okay, so and then so we have seen about other different things and not in aspects, and other than that, so we have seen everything. Okay, so now let us move on our welcome page. So what is the name of the welcome page? So the one so which I am calling is the login.jsp. Okay, the login.jsp is my welcome page. So jsp/login.jsp. Okay, so simply what I'm doing, I'm just adding a link, get employee list.do, and then I'm calling the controller URL. I'm calling the controller URL, that's it. And if you want to add any other links in the future, you can add here one by one. Okay, so then so default custom page, I'm not really doing anything, just a error page which I'm configuring saying that the requested resource is not available. That's the only thing which I'm been writing here. Okay, so now so moment so that you call in the login.jsp find employees.do, what it will do, it will search the controller, appropriate controller, the which controller has this URL. So in our example, so these are all the packages has been written. So one of the package as the controller package. So I've currently have only one controller, so you don't have even any confusion. So in the controller, so there's a method which I've written is find employees. Find employees is the method. Find employees is the method, and this method will be called, right? So the moment so this method will be called, what actually does is it passes the normal value. So I'm passing a form, regular form, so which we have learned MVC forms. I'm I'm also trying to repeating the MVC concept again. Okay, at the end of the session, I want to you to okay remember all these things. And auto wire again, so we are doing a dependency injection. So MVC controllers, and then so binding results, so request object, so you are getting the form object is there. Okay, the form object is nothing but so my pozo class. So that is my hibernate pozo class, because here I don't have a hibernate entities directly, as I can also use this as a form class, I can also use as for a form class. So these are all the columns which is generated for Hibernate specific columns, and these two columns I added for pagination purpose. So one is number of total records count I want to, because in this page I want to display the number of pages. How I can display? If I know the number of count. So number of records count. Okay, and then so the moment when you select a particular page, is that page number is highlighting. How? And for that I need to remember the what page is user is clicked on. That is my current page. So these two additional variables which I have declared specially for a pagination purpose. uh, Pramod, go ahead. So if you have any questions on the web product owner file. Pramod, so you said you have a question, so you want to go ahead now. So does Spring have provided any logic for exception now? Okay, so no exception, so we have not written. Okay, so if you want, you can also configure a generalized global exception handlers, and so using that you can catch the error. I mean, you can redirect it to the error pages. So you have something called exception resolver class, you can use that. So that class is a super class for all the Spring exceptions, and you can write over there where you want to transfer whenever any exception is occurred in entire Spring framework, which page you want to redirect, which error page, that you can write in that exception resolver class. Okay, all right. So now moving on into the that's it. I have generated a getters and setters, so I have not did anything on this. So that's the pretty much. And going back to the controller, I'm doing the same thing here. So binding results, if you want, you can also write a validation. You can also check whether this form is valid or not. But right now I'm not filling any form, so I'm not checking. But I'm again checking whether it's a valid form or not. So what I'm doing here, I'm auto wiring the service class, and you can also see all the MVC example which we have did is we have not connected to database lively. So, but I showed you the complete workflow of MVC workflow. But here you can see a practical example for connecting to database, getting the data from the database. Okay. So the employee service class I'm calling. Okay, so here is my interface. Usually the service class will be recommended to write an interface followed by implementation class and get all employee list. So here is the employees class contains some business logic on this. Okay, so interface followed by implementation class. So here is my implementation class. So this is considered as a service class, and I'm auto varying BAO, and the form object will be written. Okay, so what is the business logic so which I'm writing here is, so do you want to get a employee counter every time? So the moment every time that you call, so do you require to call every time to get the count? Okay, every time, so do you want to, okay, get it and render these pages? Usually it's not required, right? One time if you decide the page numbers will be most of the time, so the situation, the page numbers will not be changed. Okay, it will be consistent, right? So if you see, even if I'm going 17th page or 13th page or 20 page, so my page number is the same, which means that so count is the same. So which means that, so instead of executing every time, only at the very first time which I want to execute when the form dot get current page. So when you are calling first time is nothing but my current page is 0. So current page is 0 is nothing but the first page which you are loading. So the first page is nothing but the current page is 0. Only at that time only I want to call the database and get the records. Otherwise, don't get it. And how I am calling? So I have prepared a VO class, because finally from here I want to return, one is the count result, and the second one which I want to result employee list of records. If I want to return both of them, I cannot return a list, or I cannot return only integer. So 1 minute please. I'm sorry. So okay, now let us continue. So so here what I'm call okay, what I'm doing is I want to return a result. So the result is not just only your integer value as a count, or it's not a list, right? I want to return both. So then if you want to return a both, so what is actually required for us, and we required something called value object, or maybe a helper class, or maybe a pojo, that is required for to transfer the data. Simply I'm okay constructing a vo is called value object, or you can also write something called a bean, or you can also write whatever you treat, you can give it. Basically it's, we will call it as a value object, or people call it as DTO. So DTO design pattern. So people call it as where you are been transferring, where you are been transferring. Okay, so where you can transfer the list of data using this. So some people will also call it as DTO, data transfer object. So this is a data transfer object where the data is available. I'm just using these two where I'm setting the employee count and then list. Okay, so simply I'm calling the database. So that is the DAO layer, and now the DAO layer contains actually your uh, the the execution logic. So getting the record from the database. So let us go to employee count, and so here what I'm doing. So first of all, I need to annotate the class with repository. If you remember in our hello world MVC complete workflow, if you remember there, I've written @ component, because there I'm not doing any database operations, right? I explained you what is the difference between @ component versus @ repository. Okay, so in this class I am directly injecting the session factory object. So where is this session factory? Which is available in the Spring configuration file. Spring configuration file, I'm searching. So Hibernate session factory object. So this is the session factory which is being directly injected to your Spring DAO class. So the moment, so if your session factory is available, it is very easy to write a Hibernate queries to get the number of records count, right? Simply exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm auto wiring, and then so if you see every method which I'm applying @ transactional, the transactional is annotation which is going to be managing by transaction manager. If this method is success, then only your transaction will be committed. So if it is okay, if it is a failure, and this method will be in a failure state, means so the whole transaction will be get rolled back. So if we apply whether transaction is required or not, also it will be transaction manager responsibility, it will automatically analyze. So otherwise if you really want, you can also even set explicitly whether transaction is required or not. So no transaction. So if you require any explicit transaction, you can stay okay, you can still mention. So okay, if suppose read only equal to true, which means that so Hibernate will not start, sorry, Spring transaction manager so will not start any transaction on this. So read only true, because I'm only reading the data, I'm not really okay applying any transaction. So if you make read only true, that represents so it is not really going to be begin any transaction. And even this is just explicit value, but however still internally transaction manager analyze if whenever the user is attempting the insert commands, update and delete, it automatically applies the transaction. When he is not doing, if it is a selector, it simply sets the default to read only to true, and you don't need to explicitly set as read only to true. Okay, so whose properties are of all this? Spring framework provided transaction manager responsibility. So you don't need to do a begin transaction, you don't need to do all these things. If you are in Hibernate, you have to begin a transaction explicitly, you have to commit a transaction, you have to roll back the transaction. So these are all things explicitly you have to do. But as we are controlling using transaction manager, you don't need to do anything additionally here. Okay, now coming back into the logic for getting accounts, if your people knows Hibernate criterion API, that is what exactly I'm using. Factory dot get current session, where I'm okay creating the criteria for employee class. I'm using the concept of projections. In this projections, I'm finding the count of employee records. So count of employee records, and that count I'm returning back to 9. That's it. So what it will do, it will simply execute select count star from ID underscore EMP from employee. That is the query it will execute. I don't know which you can see query here or not. If I'm able to display it, so then you should be able to see that count query. Yep. So let me show you what is the equivalent query has been fired for this count. Yep. This is the query has been executed. Okay. Criterion SQL query has been executed. Select count. Okay. The ID from employee. So this is the query is executed, and just for this. If you are Hibernate, if you are well aware of this, so this is pretty easier and very basic in Hibernate. I have not did anything. All right, so that will return you the count, and the count will be captured in the DAO class, and so VO dot I am setting it. Next, I need to also get the data. So not only from counts, okay, I need to also get the data. How? And the data should not be for all the pages. The data should be only current page, the data which I want to get it. How do I know the current page? Page number always starts with the 0. Okay, page number always start with the 0. Maybe for you it is displaying is here is 1, but current page numbers will be starts with the 0, because if you see in my form class, I have declared the page number is 0. Am I declared like that or no? Okay, I have not declared, but anyway it's a default 0. I don't need to declare explicitly. All right, so now I'm in DAO class, right? So it will call this method. So by passing a current page number, get all employee list, where I'm passing the current page number. The moment so that you pass here current page number, so what will happen? Current page will be written here, and so what I'm doing, the logic is I don't want to, okay, here also I'm using same Criterion API. I want to get list of all the employee records, but by setting a maximum result is only 15 records. Okay, even though there are 500 records are there, but I want to get only first 15 records. But which 15 records is the last 15 records, or first 15 records, or middle 15 records? How do you decide? In the criteria there is a method called first result is a method. Okay, first result is a method. Suppose if your current page number is 0 multiplied with the 15, the value will become a 0, and it will fetch from, so first 1 to 15 records will be fetched from the database, and then it will return. First from 1 to 15 record will be fetched, and then it will so return. Suppose if current page number is 1, if current page number is 1 multiplied with the 15, yes, it's a 15. Your page number result will be starts with the 15. Okay, from first 16 to 30 records will be written. Okay, and that is what this first result means, where from which row number onwards so you want to start. So that is what this first result object will do in the criteria. So that is what you can see. Suppose if I'm in first page, first 1 to 15 records will be written. If I'm in second page, the 16 to 30 records will be written. Okay, if I'm in third page, so that is nothing but, so it's my second page. So the second means 2 into 15, the value becomes 30. So your records will start from 31st to another 15 records, so it will become a 45. So until 45 it will return like this. So page by page by page it will return. So the criterion dot list means, so that will give you a list of records, and that is the employee object will be written back. And then so both will be saved into the employee view objects, and that will be written back to the controller. So the controller will receive the view object. So okay, here is the controller. The controller has been received the view object, and I am storing the result in request object. Otherwise you can directly even store in the model object. So as a model, so this is my view. Okay, instead of again reading there separately from Vivo and again from the Vivo I'm calling, I'm setting it separately, both form data plus this. And if you see for form, I'm setting the total number of records which we got it from the Vivo, and I'm setting and that also I'm setting only when the current page is equal to 0. Only first time I'm setting to, so total number of records. And then I'm setting the form, because every time you need to remember the, okay, I'm returning the form back again. Why? Because whatever the data has been stored in this form, and you have to remember because which page currently you are in and number of records so that you are transferring, so both should be there. So when you are submitting a second time request, right, so that's what I am setting the form in the request. And finally I'm opening the JSP, that is view name is employee list. So employee list. So employee list.jsp will be open and the result will be displayed by that particular page. That is how you can transfer. So employee list.jsp. So here I am doing a very simple thing. Okay, very simple thing. So what I am doing here, from this request object, so here is my form class which I have configured. Okay, here is the number of columns of which I want. I declared all these columns. Okay, so which I am getting from the database, and then simply I am writing a for each, advanced for loop. So I'm writing here advanced for loop. So anyway, the employee list is already available in the request object I'm reading, and every time you will get a one by one employee object. And then if you see, I am reading one by one. Okay, so emp dot id, emp dot last name, emp dot first name, emp dot middle name, emp dot date of birth, phone number, address, all of the details, so that I am displaying it. But when it comes to the date of birth, if you see, I am not displaying the database return format. Database is returning, okay, your employee list object is returning this format. But if you display this format as a date of birth, it's a meaningless, right? What I am doing, I am displaying in a nice format, that is MMDDYY format. So US standard format. Okay. So MMDDYY format I am displaying what? So for this, you don't need to format separately in Java. You can do directly even in the JSP also. In JSP, they have given a something called format functions. Okay. In JSP, they have given a functions called format function. So this one FMT is the format, and then you also have the functions, so built-in functions. I'm also using the JSTL core tags also I'm using, right? And that's what I am using here. I am formatting. So whatever the date is been written from the database, don't display as it is, and so do a format in the format of MMDDYYY format. Make sense? And remaining other columns I'm displaying as it is. Okay. And then the second thing what I'm doing, if you see, every alternative record, okay, I mean every alternative records which I'm displaying in a different colors. I mean for look and feel purpose, so that so you should able to see some good color, right? And for the look and feel purpose, so what we are doing, so we are setting a different color. Probably you might not able to see in a very good, okay, style. I have defined a CSS here. Let me check, is there any background color, in a nice background color in the Google. I can get the Google help, which maybe you're not able to see properly. If you're able to see, well and good. Okay, background color. You can change whatever the color so that you want. You can always explore. Okay, this is the color which I'm using. You can also select the color code accordingly. You can apply. You can apply it. Okay, suppose I want some different color code. You can choose that. Okay, I will apply this color code.
Where we need to use that is service tag at the rate of service tag
What is it?
annotation. At the rate of service annotation.
So you have forgotten the MVC. Did you?
we are writing, when we are using some creating that Mojo things, and at the rate resource for the repository or database related thing, at the rate service
Mhm.
actually not able to.
So, do you remember one of our Hello World service class? Okay, let me show you the class. So, okay, the one of our first MVC example project. So, if you see here, I explained you about for to make your class as a service class. Okay, you need to make your class is at the rate service if you want to consider as hello world service. But that time we have not connected to any database officially. But so what we are doing is, okay, basically that day I've explained about a component versus resource, and then so we also explained about how we treat a class as a service class. It should be annotated with service. Exactly the same thing which I am currently implementing lively by connecting to database.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so now going back here, let me refresh because I want to change the background color a little bit different. So I changed it. Let me see. Yeah, you can see now at least there is a okay every alternative row, every alternative record, but looking very hard actually. So okay, maybe you people can figure out that. I don't much worry about the design part. You can still concentrate. So we'll use this. I don't like much in designing. Okay. So let me make a small change once again. It's looking very hard. Okay. So now let me refresh again the page. Go back. Okay. Every alternative, yeah. This looks somehow okay. Okay. And every alternative record, what I'm doing is I'm applying the CSS class. I declared here CSS name called gray background color. The font is normal, but background color so which I'm applying here. And what I'm doing in the bottom, okay, so here for every alternative row, how I can apply for every alternative row, I'm getting the current index. So where status current index. So when you get the current index, dot index means it will give you the I value. If percentile by 2 when there is no remainder, so then I would say that I want to apply a background color. The first value is 0. Index will always starts with the 0. 0 percentile by 2, okay, the value is 0, and 0 is double equal to 0, yes, and it applies the background color. So the first record background color is applied. Okay, next I value is become 1, and 1 percentile by 2 is the value become a 1, and 1 is double equal to, so 1 double equal to 0, no, and it will not apply any background color. So that is the only logic what I've written. For every alternative record you are getting a style for your class. Make sense? Make sense? Okay, and here you can also use registration, all other things. So whatever you want, you can add those features and you can write. So that is about for display part. Okay, the displaying of the data, what we speaked up so far. Okay, and coming to the pagination. So pagination, what I'm doing is, so some of the information which is hidden for you. Okay, if I go to click on view page source, you can see some of the hidden variables which I'm using for pagination purpose. If you see, total number of records are being written from the database is 472 records has been written, and this is a hidden value as a hidden input, and this is used for pagination purpose. And current page is okay. The which page currently I'm in page number 3rd, but so what page number is been showing here? So it is been displaying as the second page. So which means that so page number is starting with the 0 always. The first time when you are calling from the controller, the page number will be 0, and starting from the second, so the page number will be 1 2 like that. Okay, so if you see, we are in 3rd page but the page number is 2, and that is what I have already explained. And display per item page, so this is again a pagination value. So they have given all from jQuery. So I've used it as it is according to their uh, the suggestions. I've added this value. So number of items per page, so I want to display only for 15 records. Number of display entries. Okay, the display entries means how many you want, okay, in the left side. So 5 display entries I want to give 5, and so that's what I've given is a 5. And number of edge entries means in the right, so right side entries how many you want, 4. If you see here, right side of entries here is 4. So if you configure 6, it will come 6. So how many links that you want, even that also can be controlled. So that's what I said, this is a beautiful pagination. So you can display here how many links so that you want, how many number of pages so that you want to enable. I want to give 5 and then 4. So that is what, okay, in the left side you are able to see 5 links, okay, and right side you are able to see 4 links. This is all can be controlled by specifying the what values you want. So these are all the definition which is required for pagination, and this number will be used for displaying of your pagination. And how this pagination grid is displayed, this part, okay, for this, so they gave you a div tag. So they are asked to enable us a div tag, and that div tag is this. Div id is pagination, so class is pagination, align is center which I'm applying, and this the pagination is displaying in the center of your page. So this is all a built-in class. So okay, the built-in format, so they gave as it is, I pasted, and only thing which I applied is center is align, which I want to display in center. I put a center align. That's it. And apart from this, so who is reading of all these values? Okay, who is reading all these values? Who is preparing the number of pages, and who is displaying, okay, the number of page numbers, previous and next. So this is all doing by your pagination code, and that is what you need to write a 3JS function, so that you need to write for that. And you need to also import the respective pagination files which you have downloaded. So under JS folder, jQuery pagination, I have downloaded, okay, both jQuery.js, jQuery pagination.js, pagination.css. So okay, all these things are being configured here. I am not doing anything, as it is whatever I downloaded, I configured. I am loading into this page. Okay, so if you are aware of the jQuery, so jQuery, if you want to bootstrap the jQuery, so the jQuery very first line, so which you have to write is document.ready. And where if you see, I am reading the hidden values like number of records and pagination, okay, the form information. So the form information means all the hidden values, so that is declared in the bottom. I am reading of all the settings, and then so we are preparing the pagination. So this is the built-in function which is available in the jQuery.pagination.js, and they are asking us to. So this is I copy pasted as it is according to their instruction. I have not did anything. I just copied and then paste over here. Okay, so I copy and pasted. So this is a built-in function so which they gave us, and this is a built-in function so which they gave us, and this is the page select callback. So here itself the pagination will be get ready, and then so where you want to, okay, setting this under the div tag. So the id means, so this is represented wherever the div id is matching, the final output of the pagination will be calculated in this jQuery.pagination, and the output will be rendered to in this div tag. So where is that? So pagination has been written in the div tag. So here. So these are all your hidden variables. Okay, and that pagination will be injected into in this particular location, right? So this is to load at very first time. At very first time to load your pagination with pages. But when the user click on every page number, right? And for that they have given a function called page select callback. Whenever the user select a page, a callback function will be called. So that is the function is this. This will be called automatically. Okay, we have not written any code, anything. So as I said, so these are all the built-in function. I have not written anything. Okay, given by jQuery. So I'm just calling the page select callback will be called automatically. I'm checking. So page index, current page index, and current page number which is selected by the user is both are not equal to, means he selected a different page. Then I'm calling the, so I'm setting the current page as page index, then I am going to be call the same controller again, because you need to get the new data. So again it will call the database. Again it will perform all the controller service, and then DAO get the new records, and then it will display. Again, whenever the page number is changed again, so this page select will be called every time when you select a page number. Every moment it will call this. Okay, that is about your callback function. How this has been used. So that's the complete of your the application, the end to end how it is looks like. Any questions? Okay, so nothing is complicated. Okay, so just
Anyone, just one
yeah.
thing. In that JSTL tag, it's bringing the value from our Spring framework, right?
Yes.
And loop is there, yeah, this one.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So it's bringing value inside this current index.
Yes. That's right.
Okay. But how it's like syncing up
Means syncing up means
the data for from this variable to there. We are
which
populating,
one?
right?
Into the employee object, right? Every time when so advanced for loop, right? You
Yes,
know the
yes.
advanced for loop. So it's very simple. So every time from the list, if you get it, every time they'll give you a object. So from every object, so you can fetch the details of whatever you want.
Right, right. No, from here to Ajax. Okay, we row we are generating. Correct, correct. Fine, fine.
So now, so moving on in the last concept on this, so which we have already declared and which we have already discussed, but what is that is AOP. Again, I want to remind you the concept of AOP. The AOP which we have already implemented in annotation mode, but I want to you let people you also know that. So there is a XML way also you can declare. I mean same, right? So the annotation versus XML, the fundamentally the idea will not be changed. The concept will not be changed. The only thing is instead of configuring in XML, we will be making a changes in annotation. That's the only change. So here is the practical the implementation for this. So here, whenever if you want to configure an AOP, okay, so here is the thing so which I have written. Okay, so and what I'm doing is I want to apply a logging. So I want to use the logger mechanism, so which I want to apply. Okay, have written a class called normal Java class. It's a very simple Java class. So class name called global logger. So global logger is a logger which applies to across your application. So this is global logger, and I've written a so four different methods. So like method entry, whenever the method is started execution, I want to call this method. Whenever the method is exiting, I want to call this method. Whenever method is exiting but after return, I want to call. Whenever there is a method returns the exception, I want to do this. And what I'm doing currently, I don't want to open a log file and then show you. I'm also parallelly writing in the system.out.println. Whenever if I'm accessing any controller or anything, so I want to display that information here, right? So simply, so what I'm doing here, and I am doing very simple that so the execution of this class is started, and I'm trying to printing like this the information, right? So simply I'm not same like even annotation also, but this is not annotation class. If it is annotation automatically in Spring, so annotation, so we will write at the rate component, but here I'm not using any annotations, I'm using XML. So what I need to do, if I'm considering this is aspect class, I want to give it to Spring framework. So how you need to configure as a bean. So if you are in XML world, you need to configure as a bean, and that is what I'm doing. So if it is an annotation word, you will simply at the rate component. Now, and this you want to consider as an aspect. So how you can consider as aspect, and that is what you need to inject as an aspect. So you need to inject as an aspect. So here what I'm doing is so if you want to start with the AOP, so you need to first write AOP colon configuration. Okay, every class you want to be proxy classes, the required target classes. You need to define a point cut expression. So here is the point cut expression, so which I am defining. So I don't want to apply every class which I have written in this project. I want to apply the execution. I want to apply for only the project, so only the class, so which is starting with the package name is com.dev.controller. Okay, or so if the package has been starting with com.dev.dao only for those classes, it doesn't matter in the controller if I have 100 and 100 controllers I will apply. If it is a DAO has 100 DAO, 100 DAO it will apply. But other than this, I have many other different packages, so I don't want to apply for any other packages. I want to apply only for these two. What those two? For DA controller and DAO, and rest even I don't want to apply for service and any other things. So then simply you can write expression. Expression is your choice for how you want. You want to apply for an entire project, simply write com.dev. So every package name is starting with com.dev, so you can apply for all of them. So make sense? So that is for defining the point cut expression. Same thing what we are doing. So we are defining a expression, then so we are writing over there. But here, so we are writing a expression separately. We are configuring, and this expression you want to check every advice when you are applying, and that is what I am I am configuring here. So AOP colon before advice. So when if it is a before and what you want to do, I want to call a method entry logic. So the method entry logic means this code I want to execute. So means execution is started. What I want to print. So if
Srini,
it
we
is
have
a,
done before from annotation. This is from the XML side, right? XML
yes,
config.
exactly. Exactly. I want you to also learn both XML as well as so annotation. So that is what I'm just trying to correlate between. But the idea the between both the AOP concept is the same. So here is the practical proof of for implementing your logging mechanism. Okay, so if it is a method entry, then I'm for every advisors I'm checking, make sure that so that is matching with the point cut expression. Okay, if it is after throwing advice, I'm if there is any exception is been written, and that exception will be logged automatically, and you don't need to do explicitly. So that exception will be also written as an additional parameter. That exception will be logged in the logger file automatically. So that is the beauty of this. So that's it. So that's the simplest way to configure. So instead of all this defining unnecessarily from here, in a very simplest way, you can define in annotation. So mostly in the industry will be recommended to go with annotation rather than this. So in the annotation, it's very simple. Here itself you can declare as an aspect. Here itself component. Here is a point cut. But here what we are doing? So we are doing explicitly everything we are configuring outside. That's the only difference. Okay, so both XML version of knowledge as well as annotation version of the knowledge. Okay, I think so you can see the output also whether this AOP, this logging mechanism is applying or not. So what is the guarantee that? Okay, you can see here. So get employee count execution is started. You can see where execution is started. So who is writing all this? The execution is started. So get employee count execution is started. So who written this? This has been written by AOP only. So when this method execution is completed means, so method execution is started from here to here, you can easily figure out because of AOP. See, execution is ended here. So who has written this all information by AOP? Okay, this is writes in the log file as well. So AOP aspect logging. So aspect logging details has been also displayed here or not. So okay, method is ended and then after that exited also. So all this, so one particular method is called everything is being displayed. All right, makes sense? Okay, so any questions from anybody? Any questions from anybody? Are we good?
Just Srini, one question. Like you have explained service, right? Service thing,
Okay.
service annotation, right? So when to use that service and when to use this DEO actually.
Can you repeat when to use service and when to use?
So yeah, means like when, in which at what time, point of time we have to implement that service there.
Every time service is compulsory, right? Without service, you cannot continue the end-to-end flow. It is compulsory that so you have to use.
Okay. Yeah. Sure, sure.
Am I not correct? Because okay, you cannot end with your flow only from controller, right? So when you want to write a business logic, so definitely you need to write your you need to write a controller or not.
Right,
So
right. We
from the
need.
controller, so you need to call a service.
Yes. From service we need to call a DEO, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That is DO is optional. Okay. Whenever if you feel that any data is required from the database, so then only you can call. Otherwise, not required.
Yeah, right, right. Okay, I'll have one implementation, then I'll check it and see if something wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, I think that is the pretty much okay what we have done so far. I think so that is the complete end-to-end learning of the Spring framework. I think if you have this knowledge, so this is fair enough to deal with all other different projects even in Spring. And I don't want to be you to a specific to a particular framework, but for to all of the framework if you want to learn the as even I also said in the first session, the basic is Spring framework. If you know the Spring framework, you can even learn Spring security, Spring Boot, Spring everything. So you can learn from here. Okay. So here is the list of projects that are available, right? So if you want to really understand about the boots, so boot is also completely on the basis of Spring framework only. Only thing is it avoids you the lot of code that you are writing in the Spring framework, which can be avoided by simply you don't need to do so much of configuration. So if it's a controller, then if you write at the rate auto configuration, you don't need to do anything, any explicit configuration, any MVC, okay, configuration in the Spring configuration file, everything you can avoid it. Simply enable auto configuration, so that will be considered as, so this is being automatically scanned by your MVC framework. So this is annotation which most of the configuration will be avoided. Okay, but the workflow remains the same. If it is a controller class, you have to write at the rate controller, but most of the configuration will be avoided by Spring Boot. Okay, Spring Boot also comes with many other features. Okay, so you mean to I mean to say you can use whatever you have developed in MVC the same way you can develop it, but mostly okay, it makes your application configuration is easy, and you can avoid a lot of configurations in the Spring configuration file, which can be simplified using Spring Boot. Okay, but there is no much changes on the Spring Boot. Is does not affected anything on MVC or your AOP or your ORM or DAO. Okay, it's mostly it is affected only the core module in the core configuration sections, not like anything on the MVC point of view. That remains the same. Only as I said, so it's a mostly on the configuration point of view, it has been changed. So if you really want to be also understand about really the implementation, so they have given a lot of simple projects, so people are already developed, and then so they built it. So you can always even look at in the SRC folder. So look at those. Look at those examples also. How has been configured. So what has been configured, you can see those things. So so here is the small okay boot code, how it is look like. Spring Boot application. You don't need a Spring configuration file. You don't need to write a everywhere components or controller so different things can be avoided using Spring Boot application. So if you define like this, so this is the replacement of your Spring configuration file. Okay, so that is nothing but so your application will be start launching by the help of this class. Okay, and this will be considered as your main class like this. So you have couple of benefits are there. You can still have a look at, and then you can see, I think you can understand, because not like a completely brand new concept. It is just built on top of Spring framework. If you have really interested, or if you get a good command on the what we have discussed, and it is easy to play with the other the concepts. Okay, and regarding the ORM, so the only one concept and related to Hibernate template. So if your people are aware of the Hibernate concept, so it is easy. If people are not aware of the Hibernate, so then it is a little bit difficult. So that what usually only for Springer Hibernate template concept. So usually I will avoid it because I don't want to bring so much of concept of the Hibernate into here. Okay, that's the only thing which I will usually avoid it. Okay, that is more to doing with the Hibernate related operations using Hibernate template dot save method, update method, merge method. So these are all, so mostly the Hibernate related operations which can be doing by this. Okay, so if you are learn the Hibernate, and then so if you can correlate, so it is easy. But if you especially concentrate on the Spring related integration point of view, is what exactly what we have seen so far. Okay, I think so that is the pretty much what we have for in our entire course. Okay, I think, I hope you have a sufficient knowledge, I think enough knowledge. So what I feel, even you can even deal with any type of Spring application. I don't even worry about that. I have not learned Spring Batch. I have not learned Spring Boot. Okay, I have not learned Spring Security. Spring every day may going to be release a different kind of applications. So it doesn't mean that every project so they introduced you have to learn. Okay, but only thing is, as you have to be have a basic understanding of the Spring framework. Maybe if you spend only 1 2 hour days additionally, you can learn all the different projects. The only thing is you should be having an interest for to learn, or if you implemented, you can see a several example. But guys who are really coming unknown and they don't know what is Spring, for them it is very difficult to learn about Spring Boot, so they cannot learn. So okay, it is a big challenge for them. Okay.
Hello, Steve.
Hello. Yeah, I'm sorry. So I was on mute. Okay. So any questions? Any doubts? And also feel free to reach out me anytime. So don't feel that so we have completed, and don't disconnect with me. Okay. So whenever there is any questions or anything related to, if you feel that so do you need any help which I can help you, okay, and please let me know. You can reach out me at any time, even one to one also. Okay, anytime, any day you can also contact me. We can discuss and we can clarify even your doubts.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah,
Am I audible?
your voice is very low.
Hi. Can you take some session on Spring transaction? I mean, 1 2 3 session.
Spring transactions. Okay.
Yeah.
So sure, but so you want to look at something, and then if you have a comes with specific questions, so that so we can look at.
I mean, we can develop a small project. I mean, to for the concept.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Maybe you all can, okay, maybe we can also arrange a session, maybe 1 2 day, so 1 2 sessions. If you're really interested, maybe practice, you will also get some time, enough time. You can also try to understand yourself about this all the examples. You can also practice yourself and try to do other examples, like I gave you one example for only for fetching the data, and try for, okay, uh, adding a new employee, registration of new employee, update of employee, so delete of employee, login page and logout page. Try to implement, try to apply the transaction, and then see something if you're not able to understand. So if you come with a specific question, so let us all meet anyway. We have a WhatsApp group, so let us schedule a 1 session or 1 2 sessions if you really feel that. So then so we can arrange a session. Then so we'll clarify all your doubts, and if you want to me do present any session, I am ready to do that. So you will get a good time to analyze yourself, and comes with the questions, and which can be clarified in one shot, everything.
Yeah,
Does it
because
make sense?
yesterday I'm going through a blog. Okay, so I mean, it is given different types of transaction. I mean, declarative transaction or some called a transaction template, which is recommended.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
how mainly that is for a database purpose, right? For the
Yeah,
commit and rollback.
mostly for database purpose, nothing for to do with the Spring framework. Nothing with the doing with the Spring framework. Okay, if we are doing a combination of Spring and Hibernate, if I could spend more on the Hibernate, because when I'm discussing in Hibernate, I'll try to cover more on the transactions, so transaction management. So whatever you said is about the, so declaration transaction, so annotation transaction management, how do you, okay, do this, all these things, because there we are lively connecting into the database, so you can more realize over there.
Yep.
If you see like some Pramod and Sada, because so they are not much aware of from this Hibernate and all these things. For them, it is difficult for to digest those.
Is this NCA architect?
What is that, Amit?
So,
Hello, Ankur, you are saying something?
No, no, I'm not saying. I think
Sorry,
Pramod
Amit.
is.
Oh,
no, actually.
okay. All right. So okay, if you have any specific questions, anything, so please use
You
group
can react
chats.
to, yeah, WhatsApp group.
Yes, please
Yeah.
use, and let me know if you need any sessions on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, and I'm so post your questions over there, and also you can shoot me an email, or you can directly call me at any time when you are some question you are not able to understand. So please feel free to contact me at any time. Okay, don't feel that I'm in busy or something else. If I'm busy, I will directly say that I'm busy. You can give me a call after some time. Okay, so nothing other than that. With that said, that's it I have. Okay, so I wish you all the best. Okay, so again, I hope we will be keep in touch again. Okay,
Same
thank you
here.
very much for all of you
Great
joining.
question.
And Zenith, I mean,
Yes, the other thing,
regarding
thank you for
to
reminding. So I will send you all the interview questions and related to Spring framework, which I've already
Yeah,
captured.
some filtered question if you'll get it, no means like really helpful means. Uh, like
What is
actually
it?
also, hello.
Yeah.
Also, the recorded session on 25th and 28th, I guess. That is not sent.
Can you please put in the WhatsApp so that I'll search in my folder?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So I will send it. Okay. All right. So once again, thanks you a lot. Okay, for joining here. I hope we had a fantastic journey from last 1 month. Right. So have a wonderful day for to you all, and you can also please share your feedback If there is anything which I can do, I can also do of myself of improvement if there is anything. Okay. So with that said, again, wish you all the best. So keep in touch. Have a good day and bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.